Hello, everyone. I'm Charlotte. Welcome to Daily Theory, a podcast where we try to understand how the world works one idea at a time.
And I'm Cody. We do that by looking at the systems and ideas that shape our everyday lives and trying to explain them in simple terms. Today, we're talking about why change feels so hard.
I was thinking about this recently. A few months ago, I moved my desk to the other side of the room. It gets better light. And yet, for weeks, every time I walked into the room to sit down, I'd start walking to the old spot first. My brain just automatically went into the old routine, even though I consciously knew the desk was somewhere else. It was a simple change that I wanted to make, and yet my own habits fought against me. It shows how deeply ingrained these patterns can become, even for something so minor.
I had something similar when I changed the route I take in the morning. Even after deciding to go a different way, I'd still find myself halfway down the old route before realizing. My body just kept following the familiar path, even though my brain had already decided otherwise.
Right. And it seems to be such a common experience, this quiet internal resistance to change, even when it's a good change, something we've chosen ourselves.
Exactly. There's this feeling of friction, as if we should just be able to decide to do something differently and then do it. But it rarely works that smoothly.
And our first instinct is usually to blame ourselves. We think we're not disciplined enough, or we lack willpower.
Yeah, but I think that explanation is incomplete. Maybe it's less about a personal failing and more about how systems naturally work.
I like to think of it in terms of default settings. Our brains, our bodies, our lives. They're all designed to create stability and efficiency. We build routines and habits that eventually become automatic. Think about how you don't have to consciously decide to brush your teeth in the morning. You just do it. That's a default setting. It's a way for our brains to save energy for more complex decisions.
The path of least resistance.
Exactly. Over time, those paths become smooth and well worn. Following them doesn't require much conscious thought or energy. It's a very effective way to operate.
So change is like trying to forge a new path through an overgrown field right next to that smooth paved one, right?
hmm There's more friction on the new path. It's uneven, it takes more deliberate effort. The old path is just easier to slip back into.
And that feeling of difficulty, that friction, isn't necessarily a sign that the new path is wrong or that we're failing. It's just a feeling of a system doing its job.
Right. It's the system trying to maintain its balance and conserve energy by defaulting to what it already knows.
So if the problem is friction, it makes sense that what helps change feel easier is anything that makes the new path a little smoother.
Yeah, like making the change much smaller. Instead of deciding to write a book, maybe the change is just opening a document and writing one sentence. A very small new path has less friction to overcome. Or if you want to start exercising, instead of committing to an hour at the gym every day, maybe the first step is just putting on your workout clothes. That's it. You've lowered the barrier to entry so much that it's harder to say no than to say yes.
Or reducing uncertainty. Sometimes the friction comes from not knowing what the new path will look like. Just thinking through the steps or seeing someone else do it can make it feel less intimidating.
And simply allowing time for adjustment. Every repetition wears that new path in a little more, making it a bit smoother, a bit more automatic. The initial resistance naturally fades as the new default is established.
You see this all the time in daily life. When a grocery store rearranges its aisles, it's chaos for a few weeks. People are frustrated because their efficient, mapped out paths are suddenly useless. It's the same reason why a software update that changes the user interface can be so jarring. Even if the new design is objectively better, it disrupts our muscle memory and forces us to learn a new way of doing things, which feels inefficient at first.
Right. They have to spend so much mental energy just to find the milk. The friction is incredibly high. But after a month, everyone has a new map in their head, a new default.
So this feeling of difficulty when we face change, it isn't really a flaw. It's a feature of a well-functioning system.
It's the sign that our minds are doing what they evolved to do, create stable, low-effort routines so we can navigate the world effectively. And understanding that can really shift how we see our own resistance.
Yeah, It stops being a battle against yourself. It's just the natural, predictable process of adjustment, the feeling of a new path slowly becoming familiar.
And just knowing that somehow makes the whole process feel more manageable.
So, with that, we've come to the end of today's episode.
Thanks for listening. This has been the first episode of the Daily Theory Podcast.